True. Nervous. Very, very dreadfully nervous I have been and am. But why will you say that I am mad? The disease had sharpened my senses, not destroyed, not dulled them. Above all was the sense of hearing acute. I heard all things in the heaven and in the earth. I heard many things in hell. How then am I mad? Hearken, and observe how healthily and how calmly I can tell you the whole story. It is impossible to say how first the idea entered my brain, but once conceived, it haunted me day and night. Object there was none, passion there was none. I loved the old man. He had never wronged me. He had never given me insult. For his gold I had no desire. I think it was his eye. Yes, it was this. One of his eyes resembled that of a vulture. A pale blue eye with a film over it. Whenever it fell upon me, my blood ran cold. And so by degrees, very gradually, I made up my mind to take the life of the old man, and thus rid myself of the eye forever. Now this is the point. You fancy me mad. Madmen know nothing, but you should have seen me. I watched him oh so carefully. Every night, at 12, I stared and stared. He laid there, silently, and I strangled him. Strangled him! Oh, the noise. Oh, you should have heard the noise. After I felt his heartbeat vex, I sat there for over an hour, but I came to the conclusion that someone might have heard his breathless gasps. So I hid him. I hid him below the shelf in the closet. He lays there now, still, stone dead. And just as I suspected, a shriek had been heard by a neighbor during the night. A suspicion of foul play had been aroused. Information had been lodged at the police officer, and they, the officers, I smiled, for what had I to fear? I bade the gentleman welcome. The shriek, I said, was my own in a dream. The old man? Oh, he was just absent in another country. On vacation. I took the visitors throughout the house. I let them search. They searched well. I led them, at length, to his chamber. I showed them his treasures, secure and undisturbed, in the enthusiasm of my confidence. I brought chairs into the room, and desired them to rest from their fatigues. I sat down just next to them. The officers were satisfied. My manners had convinced them. I was at ease. They sat, and while I answered cheerily, they chatted of familiar things, but eerily long. I felt myself getting pale and wished them gone. My head ached. I fancied a ringing in my ears, but they still sat and chatted. The ringing became more distinct. It continued and became more distinct. I talked more freely to get rid of the feeling, but it continued and gained nevertheless. Until at length I found that the noise was not within my ears. No doubt I now grew very pale, but I talked more fluently, and with a heightened voice, yet the sound increased. And what could I do? It was a low, dull, quick sound, much as a sound as a watch makes when enveloped in cotton. I gasped for breath, just as the old man had. Yet the officers heard it not. I talked more quickly, more vehemently, but the noise steadily increased. I arose and argued about trifles in a high key, with violent gestures, but the noise steadily increased. Why would they not be gone? I paced to and fro with heavy strides, as if excited to fury by the observation of the men, but the noise steadily increased. Oh God, what can I do? I foamed, I raved, I swore, I swung the chair open. When I had been sitting, I grated it upon the boards, but the noise arose and continuously increased. It grew louder, louder, louder. And still the men chatted pleasantly and smiled. Was it possible they had heard it not? Almighty God, no! No, they heard. They suspected. They knew. They were making a mockery of my horror. This I thought, and this I think. But anything was better than his agony. I could bear those hypercritical smiles no longer. I felt I must scream or die, and now again. Hark! Louder, 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 louder! Villains, I shrieked. Assemble no more, I admit the deed. Open the door. Here, here. It is the beating of his hideous heart.
Oh, great heavens!
You old bastard, die!